Been working on this Washburn B20 vintage bass guitar. It's in a bit of a mess, but slowly sorting it out. One of its jobs is it needs a new bone nut, which I'm about to fit now. So here's the bone blank, and obviously there's the space it's got to fit into. It doesn't quite fit at the moment because this slot's been mucked around with a bit. It's full of gunk and all sorts of bits and pieces. So I'm going to proceed to clean it out. Now the slot is cleaned out, we need to cut to length the actual bone blank. So I'll just pop it in place there. Because the headstock is actually wider here than the end of the fingerboard here, I have to take that into consideration when it comes to marking out. So when we put that in place now, that takes on that same shape perfectly. So that's ready to be marked on the top, the actual string spacing and string height. So that's the next job. So I've decided that the first string should be positioned 5mm in from the edge, so we'll just put a little line there. Now because we've got the extreme headstock shape, I want to fan the strings out from the nut to the machine head, so I'm going to just follow the same angle as I've cut on the edge there. So that's the bass string in place. Put a bit of graphite on there just to the line is sharp, but there it is. And on the thin string, the G string, we're going to make it 4mm from the edge, so there's no danger of the string slipping off the edge of the fingerboard. So I just want to do the same as is on the bass string, just to follow that edge of that nut, just so we get a bit of a fan onto the machine head. There's the G string in place. Now that should give us, if the calculations are correctly, 33mm space between the two, so that very conveniently gives us an 11mm spacing for each string. So there's the A string. Now that's at right angles to the front edge. And so we have the string spacing in place now. I've just drawn a line in which gives us the string heights. That line represents the end of the fingerboard. You see the slight taper on it. So we need to cut down to just above that line. So I'm using a very fine saw here. I like to open up each slot bit by bit as we go, just to ensure there's no mistakes. So the first one, pick up the line that I already made, jump it down to a line. So with all 4 lines cut, next thing to do is to open up those lines slightly with I used a triangular file for this, just to pick up the line and emphasize it. Now because on this guitar the strings fitted quite light gauge strings, so it's going to be a 95 on the bass up to a 35 on the top there, so just need to find the right files that are going to fit that job. So that's the next thing to be done now. So we're ready to open up the slot now with the correct gauge file. So the first string is a 35 gauge string, so I'm using a file that's slightly wider, so when it's actually fitted up there's no danger of the string catching up in the slot. Just need to lubricate that a little bit with some of my lubricating gunk. as I'm cutting down at an angle, that's just to give us a rake angle off to the headstock. Just a little bit more, we're almost there. Yep, yeah, on that one. Next is the D string. Again, I'm using a slightly larger file than the string gauge itself. D is complete, so here's the A string. I'm using a fret file, a needle file on this one, just to speed up the job a little bit. A string. So I've set up a sanding board now, just a board with literally sandpaper tacked to the top of it. There's our nut. Just want to chamfer off the back there, so that. That'll probably do it now. Now I need to take that corner off there, otherwise we're going to feel that when it gets played. So take that first corner off. And there's the second one. Yeah, that'll do the job. And this is 180 grit, so this will take out a lot of the scratches left by the sanding board. Even up all the strokes, the shape, the angle that's been cut. Taking that edge there. So next is going to be 240 grit, which is this one here. Next going to be 600, 800, 1200 and finally 2500. So I'll get on with 2500 paper I'm just finishing off with. And that's pretty much polished it really, if you look at that. I don't know if you can see that in the shot, but looking pretty shiny. To be done now is to glue that in place. I usually do that with a spot of super glue. Just one spot there, one spot there. Now super glue is ideal for this because it's particularly sticky, but it has no tensile strength, so if you need to remove the nut at any point, you can do just by giving it a bit of a sharp knock with something, and that will just break the glue, as opposed to something more heavy duty like Araldite, which will never move, or some of the rubber based glues, which is a bit of a pain, because what we're looking for is a clean line between the leading edge of the nut and the fingerboard. That's what we're looking for, because that determines where the string starts. Very important point.